I was at Wacken. It was so good to see concerts again and actually go to a big festival for actually the first time in my life. Wow, it really was awesome. Let me recap a little bit for you all. I drove to my boyfriend's place on Wednesday midday, and then we did a little bit of shopping for it, like food and stuff, which we did not really end up using that much. So for the next time we definitely won't bring as much food, because it's just way too much of a walk from the festival grounds to the campground and to your tent. On 2 a.m. on Thursday we finally got into our car and drove to Wacken. It was a 4-hour ride and I took a little nap. It was a long ride and I slept through most of it. I finally learned how to sleep on a car, so that's good. And then we got there, we had to wait in line in the car in line for quite a long time. We also drove around a lot in the beginning, like it was a whole chaos, like getting there and getting told where you can put your tent. So 9 a.m. we finally arrived on the campground. We finally got told where to put our tent. We built it up and then we went to get our wristbands, which had this RFID card this year. And I already took mine off because I'm applying for jobs and I think it would not be too good for most of those jobs to actually go to a job interview wearing wristbands. So I took mine off already, which actually makes me kind of sad because I actually was trying to build this whole arm up with festival wristbands. Yeah, I'll have to wait until next year, next festival season, to make that happen. We had actually planned to go to sleep and then get up and go to metal yoga. Yeah, that did not happen. We got our camping chairs and actually had breakfast and then immediately went to the festival grounds to have a look around, and we wandered around the Wacken village a little bit, went back to the tent and had lunch, and then at 8:30 p.m. we went to the Wacken stage to see Visions of Atlantis, which already had me completely overwhelmed. Like, I was standing in the second row. I actually had never actively listened to Visions of Atlantis, like they had not been a band that was in any of my Spotify playlists whatsoever. They were so great. They really know how to deal with the crowd. They really had the crowd engaged. Like, everyone was up with their fists in the air and jumping and screaming. And then they played Freedom from their new album Pirates, and I was in tears. Like, that song really caught me by surprise, and the performance also was like, it melted my heart, and I basically couldn't see straight for like 2 hours after that. We hadn't planned anything else, so we just walked around the Wacken village a little bit more after that. I think we also had a drink there. And then we went to watch the first headliner, Judas Priest, on the faster stage. It was okay. We were super tired at that point and it got really cold. Like, I don't even know how it actually was that cold. Like, it had been 35 degrees Celsius during the day. Like, we were walking around kind of basically naked. This is what we were wearing. Then later at night it must have been like only 9 degrees. And I had a sleeping bag that was only for like 17 degrees Celsius. So I was also freezing at night then. The next day, again, we had planned to watch something, but we didn't go. We were too tired. We slept in and then had breakfast and headed right to Masters of Ceremony. Because basically my boyfriend had been texting with the singer Adrian Cohen a lot, and he wanted to finally meet her, and I think she also was pretty happy that they finally got to meet, and took some pictures here. It was pretty cool meeting her, but I really feel bad that I didn't get to show more excitement. I was in pain, sadly. So instead of watching At the Gates and Stratovarius, we had lunch, basically then. And then we went to the faster stage to watch Hypocrisy. We wanted to actually go into the pit, but the whole ordeal with going into the pit and moshing and Wall of Death and all of that, we didn't do it just because the sound at the front was so bad. We think the reason that the sound was so bad right in the front was that the subwoofers stood right at the front and they were turned up loud enough so you could hear them at the very back of the venue too. And then there were stacked normal speakers every like 50 meters from the stage. So behind like the third pair of speakers was the best sound in our opinion. So for the rest of the concerts we stood in the back, and actually there was more space so I could dance too. We skipped watching Behemoth and Einherjar just to go eat something again and to put on some warmer clothes since we didn't want to freeze again like the day before when we watched Judas Priest. And we went back to see the second headliner, Slipknot, which was also very cool. On Saturday too, we skipped the first thing that we actually had planned to watch. We had planned to watch Vendit, like the band of the children of Slipknot. But again, we slept in and had breakfast and then went to the harder stage to watch Orden Organ, which was very cool. Like that last day really was great. Orden Organ was followed by Taya. We ended up figuring that there was a reason why we don't actually listen to Tarja's solo project that much. She's just not as good a songwriter as Thomas Holopainen is, and it just makes you sad as a Nightwish fan to listen to her voice sing songs that are just not as good. We really wanted to like it, but yeah. And also we think that the sound tech had a problem with her because he kept doing something where he made the guitars louder and more quieter and did the same thing with her voice. Was not as enjoyable as we would have liked it to be. So we skipped the end of her concert and went to get something to eat. And we returned for Arch Enemy. I really got to live there. But sadly I had a bit too much to drink. I had to go pee right when they played Nemesis. So I missed that, and I think that was also the last song they played. And right after that we stayed right where we were to watch Powerwolf, the last headliner of this year's Wacken. I had gotten to live watching Arch Enemy and I was really partying when we were watching Powerwolf. I have a weird relationship with Powerwolf as a band and with their style of music. Like, I'm always torn between it's too much of party music and people saying that they are, oh, that's just old normal power metal. Who the fuck cares? Have you seen the show that they put on at Wacken? It was so cool. And I think I've never banged my head that much in my life. And I danced and I sang the songs that I knew, and I actually ended up being sad because I didn't know the lyrics to more songs of them. So yeah, Visions of Atlantis and Powerwolf were two bands that I think really stuck with my boyfriend and me after that. And they also were the bands that we listened to on our way back. The last thing that we watched or tried watching was Lordi, but I think we didn't 100% finish that. I don't know if they played Hard Rock Hallelujah's very last song, but that was the song that we stayed for, and then we went to sleep because it was cold, we were exhausted, and we just had to go to sleep. It was so worth it. Wacken 2022, the good and the bad. Like, you basically just had the good. It was a great time listening to bands and singing songs and meeting other metalheads. Like, we had a bunch of very nice conversations. Our neighbors also were very nice, but there's also some points that were not as nice. Like at Wacken, you have people there who don't actually like metal. You have people there who just come there to really party and mess everything up. And they will listen to German Schlager music, which most metalheads, I think I can say, really hate, including me and my boyfriend. And on Tuesday night, there was a Schlager party right next door to our tent. The other problem was about the drinking. Like for water, you were only allowed to bring the Wacken water bottles, which is these ones here, half a liter of water. And if you want to stay on the grounds for all of the day, you will have to fill it up on the grounds. And there's not really enough places to do that. And I got so dehydrated over the course of the festival that really wasn't good, and I'm still struggling with a sore throat from it. I was singing, I was growling, I was screaming at the band. Also, it was very, very dusty, which also might have contributed to the sore throat. We also have pictures of when we cleaned ourselves. Like, this was my hair and my boyfriend's hair. And this was after we took a bath. Like, it was, wow. We got so dirty. The other thing is that it was quite expensive to eat on the festival grounds. As you can imagine, you were not allowed to bring a lot of food. And also there was no internet on the campgrounds. Like, if you wanted to do anything on your phone, you would have to go infield. I think they had their own masts there for internet, because of course they also had social media people there who were posting all the time. Also the showers, they were like only tiny dribblings of water. Really looking at it, that's very much complaining on a very, very high level. Like, it's nonsense to complain about it. You don't go there to be clean, you don't go there to eat, you go there for the music and the experience of the Wacken village and wasteland and whatever it is that you like the most. For all of that, it was worth it. One problem that I might mention too is that at times there were very long queues at the wristbands. Like, I read that on Wednesday people actually waited up to 9 hours to get theirs, which is unacceptable. But I think they also were understaffed this year. Like, basically every venue, everything that had to close during the pandemic is understaffed now. And the ride there, actually the ride back, I mean, we got stuck in traffic in Hamburg for 6 hours. That was so unnecessary. Hamburg, you need more bridges and or tunnels over the river Elbe. This is unacceptable, really. Fix it, Hamburg. A few kilometers after Hamburg, we then switched and I drove a little bit, and then we switched back shortly before Dortmund. Then we went into the bathtub and put on some fresh clothing that was not full of dust. Yeah, and then I actually drove home, which, that was so dangerous driving home. But I had a thing Monday morning, so I could not just stay there. I had to go home. And I could feel myself almost falling asleep for like at least the last 50 minutes of that car ride. Like, it was so dangerous. I was really fighting to keep my eyes open. Like, and basically that's all just the fault of Hamburg, because we started at Wacken at 10 a.m. and I got home at 3 a.m. the next morning. This is unacceptable. Yeah, but still, Wacken is not to blame. The festival was great, so that's that. It still was an awesome experience. My band is actually planning on taking part in the metal battle, hopefully next year, and that's why we didn't buy tickets for next year yet. But yeah, that was my experience at Wacken. Maybe here a few pictures that I didn't get to blend in because we didn't talk about it as much. If you like this video, you know what the button for that is, somewhere down below. Also somewhere down below should be the button where you subscribe to my channel, so click it if you're interested in that, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!